Shams just dropped a huge Miami Heat update confirming all of the Klay Thompson ideas that we've discussed over the last week and some change. I'm here to break down the new quotes from Shams as well as various other credible sources covering the game of basketball and what's actually taking place with Klay Thompson in Dallas, the likelihood he gets out of Dallas and possibly lands with this Heat organization, and why this would be a perfect fit for this Heat team as they try to cap off what has already been a very productive offseason. We'll break down all of that on this episode of Heat Digest, but first, please do us a favor. We do appreciate you clicking on the video, but make sure you are subscribed to the channel, as nearly 80% of you guys watching this video are not currently subscribed. Again, we do appreciate the love and support. We can't thank you guys enough for it, but now let's get to it and break down all of the news and quotes surrounding Klay Thompson. We're going to start with the initial idea from Shams. As we've been discussing Klay Thompson in the likelihood, one, that he gets out of Dallas via a buyout or a trade, and how the Miami Heat organization seemed to be at the forefront of this Thompson conversation. But now we get this from Shams just yesterday. The Miami Heat's #1 priority right now is to acquire shooting. They found their #1 target. That's Klay Thompson. The problem is Klay has 1 year left on his contract, so they're exploring whether they can trade for him or whether they could end up in a buyout. We'll see over the next several weeks, and this is great. Why? It's confirmation, breaking down all of the ideas we've been discussing surrounding Klay Thompson for the last few weeks, as his name has been connected to this Heat team since LeBron James chose the Philadelphia 76ers. And it felt like the Heat were like, okay, that's fine. You decided to go that direction. We are now not going to wait any longer, and we are going to pivot. Now, are they going to jump at the bit and force a trade in order to get Klay Thompson from Dallas? No, but they are putting all of their priorities in a straight line outside of LeBron James now that he's already made that decision. And Klay Thompson, by far and away, is the #1 priority for the Miami Heat because they want more shooting. And I see you guys down in the comments. Every time I make that exact quote, you guys jump on me and you say, this Heat team has shooting. Why do they want more shooting? They don't need more shooting. Well, the idea is very simple. Despite this roster maintaining a lot of really good shooting, with De'Vion Mitchell, who I am extremely high on and think he's going to exceed all expectations this season, especially with his three-point shooting. Not only him, but Andrew Wiggins, who we know has been at least average, if not above average from behind the three-point line. Simon Fontecchio, we all know, is a good three-point shooter. Jovic seems like he's going to improve a bit, especially behind the three-point line. Bam improved last year behind the three-point line, not to mention the newest addition in Tim Hardaway Jr., who's going to be prolific as a three-point shooter for this Heat team. Yes, they have good three-point shooting. I'm not arguing that, but they want more of it because you can never have enough of it. And what do I mean by that? If you follow the game of baseball, when it comes down to crunch time and you get to October or late September and the baseball matters and every pitch matters, pitching matters more than anything else, because if you don't give up runs, you don't have to score that many. And if you have a surplus of pitching, you can get by, whether it's starters, relief options, or closers. If you have enough of it, a surplus of it, you're usually in a really good spot. It's the same conversation when it comes to shooting in the game of basketball. The game now is lived and died by that three-point shot, and if you have a surplus of it, in the sense that if you have Bam and Giannis dominating the painted area, demanding all of this attention by the perimeter threats or the perimeter defenders that are trying to maintain the perimeter threats for this Heat organization, and they have to crash or even turn their attention to Giannis and Bam, who are dominating down in the painted area, it leaves more ability to knock down three-point shots and really put this Heat team in a position where it's hard for them to fail on the offensive end. Even if you build a wall and try to take away Bam and Giannis' ability to get to the rim, when they move that basketball and you create that skip pass and just the ability to move the ball quickly from guy to guy on the perimeter or just around the court, you are going to find open shots. And if you have a lot of three-point shooting surrounding those big name players, they are going to find a lot of success. Like the names we've already mentioned that are already a part of this Miami Heat team. Klay Thompson would just be the added wrinkle they absolutely need. That would just be another form and another source of three-point shooting that is a legitimate three-point threat. As we all know, Klay Thompson is an absolute monster, a prolific three-point option, and has been for the entirety of his NBA career as his three-point shots actually load here. Last year with the Mavericks, and again, he hasn't even been considered as prolific because of the market he's playing in and the fact that the Dallas Mavericks haven't been legitimate championship contenders. But if we all know, if we go back to the Golden Days where he was the second splash brother playing next to Steph Curry, you knew it was automatic. The guy has 37 points in a quarter on 8 dribbles. Why is that? Because he can spot up and shoot. He can catch and shoot better than almost anybody in the history of basketball. He's in a tier of players with Kyle Korver, Steph Curry, and various others. And when I say various, I mean a few others that are that prolific. If you guys are Heat fans and have been Heat fans, think about the days when the Big Three was legitimate in Miami in 2013, 2012, 2011, when you had Shane Battier, Mike Miller, and various others like Rashad Lewis. They were prolific, specifically Mike Miller and Shane Battier. Those guys were absolute problems. And they only gave you, 18 to 14 points per game. But it was the big 3-point shots that mattered. The ones down the stretch, because you had to take away the number 1 and 2 options in Wade and LeBron, and sometimes even Bosh. A lot of time Bosh. I'm not trying to discredit him because he was a hell of a player. And when that happened, they found the open man, and it was just raining threes in Miami, and it resulted in NBA championships. And if they didn't win the championship, they were in the championship. And Klay Thompson could be that type of piece to this Heat team, just playing alongside Giannis and Bam Adebayo. 44.5% from the right corner, 32.5% or 33% from the left corner, and 38% from the top of the key, absolutely slicing defenses apart from the three-point land last year. Now, other quotes. This is from Brian Windhorst and not Ryan McMahon, David McMahon. I'm sorry, I'm going blank there. They're going to need shooting. Speaking about the Heat, they've heard stuff about Klay Thompson from the Heat beat. You go on to say from Windhorst, you're saying you don't think Klay's going to get bought out. McMahon goes on to say, I didn't say that. To me, I don't think the Mavs buy him as a charitable endeavor. There's got to be something in it for them. If that's a deal, it's probably a minimum in Miami. So if he is bought out, it seems like it is going to be via a minimum deal in Miami. Obviously, they can pay a little bit more than that in order to actually acquire him. If via a buyout, if they end up trading him, it's going to get interesting, but most likely candidate would be Jovic. But based off all reports like broken down the last episode and various other episodes of Heat Digest, the Mavs nor anyone else in the league want Jovic and his contract because of the regression they have witnessed and the fact that this is the first year of a 4-year, $62.4 million deal for Nikola Jovic. Large price tag to pay for someone that only averaged like 9 points a game last year and showed great regression across the board in Miami. So then we get to Jake Fisher, who said this earlier today. Quote, I do think there could be some possibility that there can be a trade of Klay Thompson to Miami. There's a rough salary match with Nikola Jovic. There where Miami has certainly been willing to discuss Jovic trades all summer. We've broken this down. They've been discussing it. No one wants Jovic because of the contract and the regression. Totally understand it. We just mentioned that. And then we go on as this is, let me make sure this is the right one that I'm referencing. Something else we broke down last time, breaking down Klay Thompson. As reported yesterday on Clutch Points, Klay Thompson has not approached the Mavs to discuss a potential buyout as of yet. Could still happen. Long off season. No one's in a rush. It just hasn't happened yet as of July 26th, which was 3 days ago. Dallas has no reason to want to buy him out and would prefer to find a trade for him. Klay would need to give up significant money in a buyout. Again, to that second sentence from Brett Siegel, it's the same idea that McMahon was alluding to earlier in that second quote that we broke down. They're not going to do it as a charitable endeavor. They're not going to just say, you know what, let me just eat that contract, Klay. You can just run off to Miami and have a great time while we're stuck with that 16.4. What is it exactly? It's 17 million. What is it? It's 17.4, not 16.4. 17.4 million. Hey, we're just going to eat that and you can just go walk on to Miami and have fun and win championships. They're not going to do that for obvious reasons. And then we get to this from Ethan J. Skolonik. He is the CEO of 5 Reasons Sports. I believe he will end up in Miami. I understand he's still under contract in Dallas. I will just continue to say I believe he will end up in Miami. It could be closer to camp. I just want to prepare people. The Heat are in no hurry to fill these roster spots. Again, alluding to the idea we just broke down, they're in no rush. No one is in a big rush to deal with either Klay Thompson or the rest of these roster spots in Miami. They have a long time to get this trade done or any moves or trades, signings done. And again, they're not going to rush in order to do it and force their hand and put themselves in a bad situation where they handicap themselves in some facet in order to acquire one of these players they absolutely want, in this case, Klay Thompson. Now, the last thing we are going to discuss is this this Instagram post from Klay Thompson. I don't like taking a lot from these Instagram posts and these Instagram comment likes because it feels like we're just reaching for something here, but this is interesting. It's Klay Thompson's most recent Instagram post from yesterday. I'm going to absolutely butcher this. I apologize. I am not bilingual by any means. I took 5 years of Spanish. I think my highest grade was like a 79. Okay, I'm not bilingual. Okay, I speak English and that's about it. He goes on to post this picture on his sailboat. It looks like, or it might not be his, but the boat that he is on looks like a sailboat. He goes on to say, "Donde está la discoteca?" I'm butchering the fuck out of that. I apologize. I'm not trying to. Now, if you go to the comments, the over 1,000 comments, we get this from Lewis W0_. He goes and say, "In Miami, we got plenty of discotas. Come and join us." Now, texted a very credible source who is bilingual, who speaks very fluent Spanish, and he said as follows. Give me 1 second. I'm pulling it up so you guys don't think I'm bullshitting you. I said, "I need a translation or confirmation on a translation, disco or nightclub," because I did click translation on Instagram. It gave me disco, and I plugged the actual word into Google Translate, and it told me nightclub, so I needed to know which one it actually was. And he said, "I think nightclub, like where you dance. DJ dance floor." So DJ dance floor. And obviously Miami club space, all of the nightlife in Miami. There's a lot of discos. There's a lot of DJs, a lot of nightlife. We have it here. It was liked by the author. Obviously, Klay Thompson is the author because it was his Instagram post. Just an interesting tidbit that could mean that he's interested in coming to Miami. Again, doesn't mean he is coming to Miami, but it seems like he would at least be open to the idea of landing in Miami. Let me know down below your thoughts and opinions on the idea of Klay Thompson landing in Miami, as well as the ideas that we broke down from very credible sources in this episode of Heat Digest. And I will see you guys in the next one. Thank you guys for watching.